So today on Project Shop, we got a nice little chunk of wire to strip. Now, unfortunately, looking at this wire that's on top, this wire is like my nemesis, man. It's an in-between size. It doesn't, it really should go through this roller here, where there's a blade here on the front, on the top, and a blade here on the back. But the problem is, this was like way too deep, and I welded it up and tried to grind it back, and it needs to be more of a V. I need to actually weld it and make it smaller. And the wire goes through and it just jumps off. So it only cuts the top. Now, a lot of times what I do is I run it through this one, which cuts it on the front and then squeezes it on the back side. The problem is I have to like jack this open, which we're going to do right now so we don't forget, and put a big chunk of wire in here to put a gap in this. Now, this used to have things like this. Probably can't see it. Screws underneath to push that up. The machine's ghetto. It's made in China. Here's my other knife. This knife doesn't have a tip. I got my nice knife that John sent me, one of the nice subscribers. I did already bend it. Sorry, dude. You know, it's, you know, we're kind of rough on things over here now. But this knife is really sharp. What we're going to do is plug in the jaw. We're going to cut these in half. Now, some people always, I get the question, oh, why do you cut the wire? One, unless you have a couple people on the backside there, it's really a pain in the butt if you're running long runs. You know, as fast as this machine goes, it just piles it up back there. It just becomes a tangled mess. When they're short pieces, you can grab it, start peeling it, and it pulls out. I'm telling you, it's 100% easier. At least in my opinion, but what do I know? I'm just a redneck with a wire stripper and a hydraulic cutter. Oh, see that? That's the only thing with this wire cutter. These blades will open up. I was cutting some things with this the other day, and I was really straining. As a matter of fact, it was all that stainless from that train station stuff. All that stainless steel. That was some tough stuff, man. The torch didn't want to cut it. That might be too much on one bite. Or not. Yeah, the torch didn't like that stainless. That was actually pretty tough. All right. Let's see, we got to plug in the wire stripper. Oh, check this out. So the new GoPro actually lets me see in real time that I'm recording. Before, this would go blank and I couldn't see. That's actually a pretty cool deal. It's probably gonna burn the battery up a little fast. This battery has actually been lasting a long time. All right, let's start with the black stuff, okay? We're just gonna go ahead right out the gate, run it through this little wire, because I know you really should be running, I ultimately would like to run it through this one, but I can only get it to cut on the one side. Are we tight? These things, let's see. Oh! Yeah, it did it, but it needled it up. So we gotta loosen our tension here. Yeah, that one there is kind of tight. See, another problem I have is this thing here. I wish these were centered. You see what's happening here? They have a straight line. So it's almost centered here. The problem is this should be on an angle like that so that all of these holes are centered. I mean, it's just a dumb, cheap Chinese design. So when I feed the wire through there, it has to kick up like this. And then what happens is when I'm into some spaghetti wire and stuff, and especially solid core, it kicks up, and a lot of times it comes back up through in between. It doesn't go straight through. I think one of the things I'm going to do is remake this, and then I might make it out of just one. I have a big piece of aluminum up there I think I'm going to make it out of, and then I'm just going to make it so they're centered. You know, the center of the hole should be, it should just go straight in. And I think it would eliminate so many problems that I have. Anyway, enough yapping. It makes it hard. I'm all right with that. Squeezing it really hard on the backside, but what are you gonna do? We're just gonna strip it. I really gotta push it hard in there. I think what I could do is maybe slot that or something, or weld a tab and then have it. Now see what's happening here? The roller's going like this. I hate when that does that, because it puts that blade off to the side. I actually have an idea to make it so that doesn't happen. There we go. Are we still cutting? See, now we need to make sure we're still cutting. So we're gonna crank down on that a little harder. See that? I must have a dull spot in my blade. See if we can sharpen that blade real quick. If that did anything. Maybe. I actually have a new set of blades for this. It's like 10 o'clock right now. See how long it takes me to do this. Oh yeah, that's nice. All right. I don't know if it'll strip that. I might have to reset the machine. Oh, we're good, man. We'll strip all of that. Okay. Now, it's just feed it as fast as you can. See, that's a problem there. When that machine does that. Makes it difficult for you to feed it. Let's check and make sure we're doing good. Oh yeah. I'm gonna cut up some diamond plate one day, and we're gonna make it so that we don't we get rid of all the issues we have with the wire getting down in there. And I was looking under this machine the other day, and there's just tons of wire underneath this thing. We need to pull this off, do a couple upgrades to it. Maybe figure out how to put one of those solenoids on here now that I got a milling machine. Oh! So my arm is feeling much better. It's still definitely still something wrong. I don't have 100% use of it. It's probably going to be a while before it's back together. I can do most things, but if I try to pick up something heavy, like something that I wouldn't think twice about doing a couple weeks ago, I can't do it. It lets me know right away. It's not a good idea. Okay. A different coil. Sounds like something's caught up back there. What do you guys think about this size wires? Is it worth stripping? I pretty much think anything this size and up is worth stripping. We got some big nuggets in the bottom here that are definitely worth stripping. So it's kind of and there we have a problem. This is the problem with using that hole. Like, this wire is like more than 80%, and we're squeezing it really hard on the backside to where it's flattening it, and this wire is actually wet. That's another problem. It's raining out here. So it just hit and deadheaded. Let's see if we can't back it up a little bit. All right, so what we need to do is actually loosen this a lot, and we can probably get that to go. Wow. I've never had that belt slip before. Wow. That's tough. That's really tough. What's happening here is this is so tight. Oh, I can't even move it. I don't even know why they have this adjustment here, because this lets that gear open up. It's just a really dumb design. I want to do away with it and put another chain. I need to get some sprockets, and I'm gonna have to make like another little shaft. That might get it. See, this is why. See that? The gears are jumping. This is why I don't do that. Okay. Here's the problem. The wire went over that way and it's trying to push this up over here. We might have to just open this thing up and pull that wire out. I hate even messing with that one. I can feel it. See, this is the kind of stuff that just ruins your production. Oh, man. If I can get it pushed through a little bit. See that? That's what we need. All right. Now we got that straightened out. We need to crank this back down. Yeah, this one should never be touched. Years ago, I made a homemade wire stripper out of a metal rolling machine for rolling metal. And I let someone else run it, and I had the side with the gear cranked down. And what did they do? They started running wire on that side. All right. We'll probably leave this one a little loose. We'll just tighten it enough so that spring doesn't get loose. But we need to crank this down. I don't like that gear coming up. Yeah, this wire's wet. That's the problem. The knurling on that is kind of worn down. I've run a lot of wire through this. Probably miles. a big chunk. I'll take like half of it. Yeah, this hydraulic cutter, you can see that jaw splitting open. I think I've loosened this thing up a little bit. That might be too much. Another thing, if you push on it and fight against it, seems to work better. It's always one piece of wire in there that likes to hang up on you. Let's see. But for that big wire down there, this is way, especially when I have this on the tool balancer. Yeah, it actually works so much better when you it wants to twist like this and let the wire kind of go sideways in there. When you fight it, it actually works really well to break that. All right, I'm gonna set up the other camera on the gantry cam. This new GoPro actually did pretty good. What we got, 20 minutes already of footage, and it didn't get hot and shut off. That's awesome. We'll see how the other one goes. that is a huge pile, but I can pretty much just reach in here, grab this, and you know, basically pull out with minimal effort. Clean copper. We're going to I didn't squeeze that kind of hard with that blade. I just sharpened that blade. It did kind of splinter it up a little bit. Try not to do that. Now we got the good stuff. I don't know, man. I might run this in long runs and just run it, and then you'll see what I mean by it's a pain in the butt on the back side. Let's run a couple of these small lengths real quick. We're gonna run this hole here. Now, usually on this bigger wire, we don't need any spacer. You really don't want a spacer, because what happens is you run it through the first one, it splits it open, and then it's like actually missing that thickness of the half of the wire. You gotta squeeze it harder on the back side to get it to cut in one pass. Let's see what we got. Oh yeah. Dag, look at that. Alright. I know this camera's probably about to shut off any time now. Let me feel it. Yeah, she's getting hot. So we're gonna change back over to the other camera real quick. And then I'm gonna run these things full length and see how that goes. When they're full length, man, they're heavy and they're a pain to deal with. But being that we're stripping it in one pass, it might be a little easy. I don't know. We're about to find out. All right, this line is ridiculously long. Alright, I can already tell you that's going to be a nightmare to deal with. That's gonna be kind of fun to clean up. We got a huge mess here. Big old pile up on the table. I like that. Now I'm gonna throw that right back in that box, so it's actually not gonna be too bad. That's some heavy stuff, man. And I'm gonna be fighting that stuff for the most part. Those pieces there weren't that bad. They're probably 10 feet or 8 feet or something like that. They're not bad. That one piece was long, man. It went all the way up over there to the front of the shop. And yeah, that's gonna be fun to wrangle that thing into the box. So I'm probably gonna set up a time lapse. And so that took like 40 minutes. And I probably had about maybe 10 minutes of messing around with cameras and fixing the thing. So stripping wise, you know, that was 30 minutes easy. The smaller stuff, that was really tedious. I'm gonna put a time lapse on and then we'll blow through this real quick and we'll weigh this bin up and see what we got. Okay, here we go. Now, I believe I'm getting about $3.75 a pound for bright and shiny. We got 50 pounds tear and probably 4 pounds. I already teared the D-ring there. Oh yeah. $3.77. We're gonna say minus 54. Okay, so here are the numbers for that wire. We had 323 pounds of bright and shiny copper. $3.75 a pound, $1,211.75. Now I paid $780 for that wire. So that leaves us with $431.25. Now, it took me like 40 minutes to strip it and probably another 40 minutes to clean that up. I mean, they literally loaded that on my scale and then in my truck. It took me like 5 minutes to weigh that and buy it. I was on a job picking up other things, so it kind of came with it. So we're just gonna say that took 2.5 hours, 2.5 hours. That's with, and then cleaning it, throwing it in the bin. So we made about $172.50 per hour stripping wire, which is way better than stripping aluminum wire. We're gonna focus more on the copper end of the wire. I mean, the aluminum, we get it, we'll strip it, but this is where it's at. And with a machine like that, you know, you can't go wrong. It really does make light work of it. The hardest part, actually the hardest part of that whole thing was some of the this flat wire, that it didn't peel it 100%. You know, but for the most part, it was literally just grabbing clean copper. And that really, really long run that I stripped was a nightmare. I wind up actually cutting it in 3 pieces because it just was a tangled mess. And that's why, you know, I don't usually do that. Now, even with someone on the backside, as fast as this machine runs, it would almost be impossible for them to keep up with a long piece like that and feed it into the bin. It's just going to overwhelm them and turn it to a nightmare. Now, when they're short and it's clean, stripping it in one pass, and they can grab it, throw it in the bin, grab it, throw it in the bin, someone could pretty much keep up with that machine when there are 4 or 5 foot pieces. But I'm telling you, man, when you get into that big wire and you're running 20 foot, 30 foot lengths, it's just not the way to do it, man. You're gonna have a nightmare. You're gonna wind up cutting it on the backside anyway. So the best thing to do is cut it right out the gate. It's easier feeding in the machine. It's easier cleaning on the backside. It makes everybody's life much easier. Trust me, I've literally stripped tons of wire. And when I first got this machine, I would run huge long runs through this thing and pile all kinds of craziness on the backside. And I learned very quickly that it just turns into a tangled mess. Now, if you're savvy and you're picking off the top of the pile and picking the last stuff that came out, you could pretty much get it to come out. But even the wire will, one strand will tangle up in itself, not just with the other stuff, because it comes out and it starts kinking and this and that. Unless you had two people back here. And there's a video on my channel called Spools, and More Spools, where I literally stripped hundreds of spools. And I put the spools on a rod and fed them into the machine. And I had two guys on the backside. I'd feed it and stop. I'd let them, one guy grab the insulation, one guy grab the copper, and they would be working it, but it took everything for those two guys to keep up with the machine. And now the machine's even faster, so I don't even think that's possible. I do have something that I've been thinking about to get the wire to separate with the insulation. I am going to need like a Gaylor box to have it done, and it's going to take a couple pulleys and like a motor or something that's spinning at the same speed as this. You got to have it clocked right, otherwise you're going to run into issues. But even just having one guy back here and stripping this, I mean, I did that, made $170 an hour by myself in sandals. I didn't even have to put sneakers on or boots to make that kind of money. So we're gonna be looking into getting some, so we're gonna try to find some more wire. It's been really slow lately, but it comes in waves. I actually just got some new business cards, so I'm gonna go out there and start doing some sales, and then I'll give you guys an update on how that goes, because it's been 13 years since I've done any type of sales. All the work I've had was from my original customers and just word of mouth, which is the best advertising ever. But we need to get some more work in here. The rent here is crazy, and we need to put these machines to work. I might have some work coming up for this, some big boy stuff. So stay tuned for that. And if you guys want to support the channel, go to projectshopfl.com. Get yourself a nice Project Shop t-shirt. Made 100% in America, 100% cotton. Help support the channel. Help support American-made, you know, American businesses. I like to try to keep things local. Nothing against any other country. Wherever you're from, you should be supporting your local people. Not just one country, you know? Anyway, if you've come this far, thanks for watching. Stay tuned. We still have some micro scrapping, and I have a whole trailer full of scrap. I went out with my big trailer for the first time in like 6 months, and she didn't disappoint. So on that note, we'll see you on the next one. I'll tell you where we're going, right to the scrapyard. Watch it. Look, it's dancing. You ever seen your copper dance before? Okay, we made it back. This thing is automatically undoing itself, which is awesome. We're just gonna drop this. We're gonna hook right on to that trailer, and we're gonna go pick up some more stuff.